Today is a mastermind style conversation. I am really fired up about The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, which you may have heard of. It's a book that was first published in 1910. And so today the idea is that I'm going to present about half of the book, the first 8 chapters, because the second 8 chapters really build on the first, but it was going to be too much to do in an hour. So I'm going to basically present chapters 1 through 8 in a very summarized way, and wherever possible using modern language, because some of the things that Wallace says are kind of hard to understand. But having said that, some of the things he says just have to be in his language because I do not have words to translate it. It's just so perfect how he said it. Okay, so first, can I just have like a bit of feedback? Has anyone read the book or knows about the book? Okay, so Jennifer hasn't, and Leanne and Faye have. Beautiful. Okay, so first I'll tell you about me really quickly. I have been working with money and obsessed with playing with money my whole life. I used to play with money as a child because I was a strange child. And now I'm a strange grown-up. And I went on to become a financial planner, and I actually left that industry because at one point I realized there's a limit to how much I can help people just doing financial planning, because it's very much a material level exercise. So I moved into exploring all the weird and wonderful things about money. But I still work part-time in financial planning, and I still love what financial planning can do in terms of helping people. But I really, really love at the moment, my love is very intense for The Science of Getting Rich. And I felt inspired to share it and to play with it. So this is totally fun for me. This is probably the most fun thing I've ever done online as a group in my business. So yay, I'll try to contain myself. So in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace lays out the principles, but he's actually kind of sneaky. I've listened to a lot of videos and kind of reviews on his book. And some people would say that he tells you exactly how things work in a very practical thing, but he doesn't exactly tell you how to apply them. So that's where I'm really excited about the mastermind part, where we sort of explore how to apply them based around what it is where we're currently creating at the moment. So does that sound all right? Like fun? Basically, stay through to the end. At the very end, someone who's live will win a free session with me. So you pretty much want to win that because it's just going to be more fun. Okay, I'm going to get started now with presenting the principles of the book. So the first part is the preface. And in this, Wallace explains that his intention behind writing the book is that it's practical, it's not philosophical. He refers you back to philosophers if you want to read their works, and they will explain things in a philosophical way. His approach is very much practical. Okay, and he's assuming that the reader will take what he's written on faith. If you want the evidence, go to the philosophers, or if you want the practical evidence, read it, apply it, and there's your evidence. So he says, if you do it, you will get rich. And I love the energy. When I read it and listen to it in the audiobook, I feel how strong that is. And when I think of teachers like the people in The Secret, Bob Proctor, Lisa Nichols, people like that who have applied it in their own lives and gotten very rich and helped a lot of people in their work, it makes me so excited because this is what I want to do. And I know a lot of people I work with want that as well. We want to be rich so we can have a good life and help other people have a good life. It really is more simple than that. Sorry, it is less simple because there's details of how that expresses in each of us, but it's really what we all want. So he says it's an exact science, and if you apply it exactly how he says, you will get rich. Failure is impossible. Chapter 1 is the right to be rich. And he's saying we all have the right to be rich. Does anyone know muscle testing? Just quick. I have the right to be rich. Test that. See how strong that is. I have the right to be rich. Because it's the first premise that basically everything is built upon. And if we don't have a strong belief around that, we need to listen to chapter 1 over and over and over again until it gets into our system. So he's saying that chapter 1, to expand and to live our ultimate soul development, We need to be rich because to develop and to expand as humans, we need to have the use of things. And to have the free use of things, we need money to buy them. And I would extend that to say to have experiences, we need to have the money to buy them. So we have the right to develop, advance, and unfold. We have that right. It's our soul's right. And therefore, since we need money to do that, money is a facilitator of that, therefore we have the right to be rich. And this is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. Allison, I just saw your question there. So chapter 2 is that there is a science. There is a science. And learning the science and applying it will result in getting rich. How cool is that? How cool is that? Like, to me, that is something I will put my faith in. I will put that in. So he's saying that like causes create like effects. So what does that mean? It means it's not your environment. It's not how much talent you have. It's not about saving. It's not about being thrifty, although I do enjoy a good thrift. I'm not going to deny that. But it's not about doing things other people won't do. It's not about how physically strong you are. It's not about how physically healthy you are. It's not about your natural ability. It's not about having capital or being born into money. It's not about knowing the right people. And it's not about being in the right business. We could keep going that there's other things that it's not about, but what it is about is it's about doing things in a certain way. So to be in business or to have a job, we have to be willing to deal with other people, and it's about dealing with them in a certain way. And this is a huge part of the teaching, is about acting in a certain way. And it's not about acting like someone else or pretending to be something you're not. It's about allowing a certain kind of energy and a certain kind of essence to move through you and how you act. So chapter 3, he addresses the question, is opportunity monopolized? And this is around, we may have a belief that all the good men are taken, all the good jobs are taken. So there are plenty of opportunities for me. That's another one to muscle test. There are plenty of opportunities available for me to get rich. We want to have a strong belief around that. So there are channels. There are many channels, and there are many places for enterprise. And hear this, more of them are being created each and every day. So opportunities are always available for people who are willing to go with the tide rather than swim against it. Okay? And there are workers, there are people who are like, I'm stuck in this job, but it's not true. They are where they are because they won't do things in a certain way. And it's not about blaming the victim. It's about recognizing that when we feel stuck, it's because we are acting in a certain way. So there's more than enough physical materials in the planet, so everyone can have what they want. Okay? And more is being created. And this is really important because often we think, if I get it, I'm going to have to take it away from someone else. It's not the case. The universe is abundant. Okay? The creation of material substance is a direct relationship with someone's desire for that. So things get created because we desire them, because we want them, right? And if we want something and it doesn't exist, well, that can be created. So the human race is abundant. We are abundant. And if we're not individually abundant, that's because we're not connected to that truth. Because the truth is, there is no lack, there is only abundance. How does that feel? Yay! I think it feels really good. You can understand why I got so fired up. I was like, we have to keep talking about this. So chapter 4 is the first principle. The first principle is not that you deserve to be rich, although you do. And it's not that there's a science, although there is. And it's not that there's plenty of opportunities, although there are. The first principle is actually that thoughts are what create things. And I've sort of already touched on this, but I want to, actually for this one, I actually really want to go word for word with my notes a little bit, because everything that exists started with a thought. And there's a thing that Wallace calls formless substance. And this is something that I will not change the name of, at least not at this point, because I feel like the words formless substance or the perfect way of describing it. So there's this formless substance, and it uses thought to create forms. So it's formless, it's just sort of there in the universe. But the way that it becomes form is through thoughts. It doesn't happen immediately. It's not like you think of an elephant and an elephant appears like in The Secret. That's not how it works. I mean, they didn't say that that happens in The Secret. They said it doesn't happen, just to clarify. But it puts the creation in motion. By thinking of an elephant and wanting to have an elephant in your experience, it's making that into the reality. Okay? And that's why, you know, have you ever noticed, I was just thinking about extinction. What about when things go extinct? It's not because people are thinking, I want to see an elephant. They're going, oh no, extinction. And then animals go extinct. Or we forget about them. We forget that they exist. We forget to look after them. We forget that we care about them. And then they disappear. So we cannot shape a thing until we have thought of that thing. So he has 3 propositions. And these are, I'm going to read right from my screen here. There's one original formless stuff from which all things are made. All the different elements are made from one element, which is the thinking stuff. This thinking stuff, if it has a thought held in it, it produces the form of the thought. Okay? But how does that happen? Humans, we think of thoughts, and by doing so, we impress that on formless substance and cause the thing we think about to be created. Is it that simple? It's that simple. Is that complicated? It's that complicated. We think of it and it gets created. So if we want to create wealth, we think wealth. If we want to create health, we think health. And Wallace is really clear at this point that you must lay aside other concepts of the universe. And this is where, you know, it's kind of a bit of a big ask. Like, you want to get rich, you want to apply the science, you must lay aside other concepts. I mean, you can still believe in God, you can still believe, but this is how the universe operates. And if you don't lay aside your other concepts that are contrary to this, it won't work because you're putting your faith in those beliefs instead of here. So he's saying you must dwell upon this concept. You must fix it in your mind until it becomes a habitual thought. You know, and I can see how this is starting to happen with me and Miles. Like, we'll experience something, we'll witness something, and we'll have a moment of kind of like debriefing or understanding the experience through the lens of what we know, what we've learned. Does that make sense? Just going to quickly, make sure we're all muted. Okay, good. Moving on. Chapter 5. So we're halfway done the chapters that we're going to cover today. Well done. Are you with me so far? Yeah? All right. Yep. Cool. Chapter 5 is about increasing life. And this is about the fact that there is this one substance from which all things are made. And it desires to live more in you. Okay? And even through you. So it wants you to have use of the things that you can have the use of. So it wants you to be rich. It wants you to have things. Like, it wants you to like have the things. Like, it wants me to have this spearmint essential oil so I can put it in the cold water at my feet to keep me cold because this air conditioning is just not cutting it today. It wants that for me, you know, and I want that for me. So it wants you to have these things, you know. If you want to write, it wants you to have a pen and paper. If you want to sing, it wants you to have a stage. It wants that for you. The universe, the formless substance of the universe, desires you to have everything you want to have. Nature is friendly to your plans. And again, you know, the universe supports me. Nature is friendly to my plans. The universe desires for me to have everything I want. Like, these are good things to muscle test, especially when you're in moments of doubt. Your purpose should harmonize with the purpose that is in all. And this is where we can go a bit off track. because nature wants you to have what you want, but what you want needs to be in harmony. So it's not about being extremely selfish or extremely altruistic. It's about wanting things that are good for all. Like me having this spearmint essential oil and using it today helps keep me cool. And that little bit of me being cool might help me move a message forward. You know, it may help me be more focused because I'm not thinking, oh gosh, I'm so hot. Like just that little bit, that's for the good of all, even though it's for the good of me, because it's really just about my feet, really. But it has a flow-on effect. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. Chapter 6, how riches come to you. So we've already covered that we're in an expanding situation where more and more is being created. So I think it wouldn't surprise you if I tell you that riches don't come to you by you taking them from someone else. It's not about that. It's about you creating something. And someone may pay you for it, but they get something from it. They get more in the use of it, the value of using it, than what they give up in paying you for it. And this is where we want to be in integrity, and we want to be offering our wares, if you like, in a way that increases value. So if we're selling something in our business, we want the person who we're selling it to get more value than what they're paying. If we have a job, we want our employer to have more value than what they're paying us. If we're employing people, we want to get more value out of them than what we're paying. So the point here is wealth comes to you when you develop more, when you deliver more use value than what someone pays in to you. And right now I wanted to touch on this really briefly, because you're investing, you've all invested to be here. You invested your time to be here. So it's my mission to deliver you more in value than whatever you could have done with your time alternatively. Chapter 7 is gratitude. Quick time out where I tell you the story, because I'm recording the audiobook of The Science of Getting Rich. And when I got to chapter 7, I nailed it. I did such a good job recording chapter 7. It was the easiest chapter to record, and I loved it. And then I accidentally deleted it. And I was like, man, what a crappy moment. But then what ended up coming out of that for me was the realization that I was recording the chapter from a place of just reading the words. And I did a really good job of reading the words, but I wasn't feeling grateful. So the universe was like, bom, bom, try again. Try feeling grateful this time. And not even just grateful for in general, but grateful for the chance to read it again. Grateful for the fact that that happened. You've heard of gratitude. I really want to just go through what Wallace says about gratitude and how it relates to formless substance. So you get rich, you get what you want by impressing formless substance with what you want in a harmonious way. And part of that harmony is that it's good for all, and part of that harmony is that you are in gratitude. Okay, so you get in harmony through gratitude. You recognize there's one formless substance from which all things come, and you believe that this substance gives you everything you desire. So you know what you want comes from there, and you believe it gives it to you. And you relate yourself to it by feeling deep and profound gratitude. You relate to it by feeling gratitude. You don't judge it. You don't say, oh, but the timing is off. You don't say, oh, but I have to record the chapter again. You just go, oh, you're giving me everything I want. You're giving me everything I want. This is awesome. I'm so grateful. The nearer we live to the source of wealth, and the source of wealth is this formless substance, the easier it is for it to give us what we want. And we stay in a close relationship by being grateful. And that brings our blessings to us. Basically, what we think about, we bring about. We focus on inferior things, we get inferior results. So don't waste your time focusing on inferior things. Remember, everything exists for your higher good. Screwing up the chapter exists for your higher good. Internet connection not working that well is for your higher good. Traffic on the M1 is for my higher good. Traffic on the Westgate Bridge is for my highest good. Okay. Last chapter, and this is about thinking in a certain way. And this is where it's essential to form a clear and definite picture of what you want. And I love it. It's clear and it's definite. Definite. Finite. It's singular. This is what I want. I want this thing. I don't want all the things around it. I want this thing. Concentrate your mind on what you want. Just a point here about that. If you find it's a little bit hard to concentrate your mind on what you want, then maybe you don't actually want it that much, because it's actually easy to concentrate your mind on the things you truly want. It's actually easy. And most people don't really have a clear idea of what they want. Okay, so the last thing I want to say is that this whole book for me is about focusing our thoughts on these concepts. It's about getting clear on the vision. It's about acting in a certain way. And really, one thing that Wallace is very clear on is you don't have to change anything. You don't have to move. You don't have to get into another business. You don't have to change your job. You don't have to do anything. You can start right now. You can begin right now where you are to apply the principles and get rich and get what you want. And everyone's going to benefit. Like, hello, we're going to get what we want and everyone's going to benefit. Sounds like a pretty good use of time to me. So now we'll start talking about vision and action.